What is going on, everybody? It is episode 625 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Unfortunately, I have to deliver some extremely disappointing news. I forgot the Astro Boy boots.
The funny thing is I mentioned it to her right before the show and then saw that somebody in the comments had also mentioned it. I guess Thursday is going to have to be the day.
It occurred to me when I woke up, but then when I left, it totally
forgot.
Slipped my mind.
Forgot. What you should do is when you get home from work tonight, you should put them in your car.
Yes.
Yeah, let them wilt in the sun.
Hopefully that won't. Maybe they're made of such weird Chinese plastic they'll melt.
It's very, very, very possible. Yes.
Hopefully not, though.
So yes, she will do that on Thursday, and you are not going to be here tomorrow. You've got an appearance going on.
An appearance, unannounced, I guess. I'm gonna leave that as a surprise.
Okay. All right. Well, she will be back on Thursday. Tomorrow, it looks like I'm going to have Kellen, Sarah, and Phil on the panel, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We got a bunch of stuff to get into, but before we get started, guys, as usual, I have to ask you to please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Share these videos with your friends so that more other people can come in here and subscribe to this channel, which has been growing fast, so thank you all very much for that. Also, remember that all Super Chats, $20 and over, we will interrupt the discussion, and we will read those Super Chats right then and there. We will do our best to get through them all. We actually ended up hanging out towards the end of the show yesterday, and it does look as if the crisis meter is once again working. I do encourage all of you to test that theory by Super Chatting right now.
Yeah, we need you guys to test the crisis meter. We still don't know for sure.
Exactly. Wink.
But yeah, that seems to be working, and there's never any explanation for why it stops working.
The service that it's connected to just says, I'm taking a day off.
Completely at its mercy.
Yeah. Kind of. That's the way it is. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, we got a bunch of stuff to get into, as you could read in the thing beforehand. Right before we went live, I saw that Alec Baldwin is deciding to shoot his shot at reality TV, which is weird considering he's got trial coming up. So you'd think he'd be focused on that. So we're going to discuss that in the intro, which I thought was very, very interesting. Also, Kanye is getting MeToo'd. Yes, his executive assistant has got some very, very spicy claims being made about him. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about this list from The Hollywood Reporter about what they consider to be the top Hollywood A-listers of Gen Z.
And millennials. There are millennials on it, but mostly Gen Z.
So we're going to talk about that. Also, the Nepo baby discussion is back because Maya Hawke has decided to embrace the label as, of course, it's the daughter of both Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman, which is, that's tough company to
power couple,
tough acts to follow up. And she's just like, you know what? I've embraced it. I'm a Nepo baby.
She's proud of it.
Honestly, is probably the best.
It's Nepo Pride Month.
It's probably the best for your mental health to just say that rather than pretend like you're not.
Yeah, I mean, at least you're being honest,
So we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. So Mary, if you're ready, do you want to go?
No Astro Boy boots, but I'm ready.
Okay, let's go. First things first, I have fantastic news for you if you like Taco Bell. Well, actually, I have no idea. This isn't necessarily fantastic news. Taco Bell is planning to sell their new chicken nuggets at select locations. Who the hell goes to Taco Bell for chicken nuggets?
No one. I have no idea why they're doing this. Also, they have this new Bell sauce in the picture.
Okay.
That's new. I've never seen that before.
What is it, like a Chipotle type sauce?
I don't know. They're trying to do what Chick-fil-A does. They have their own sauce. They've never done that.
Well, I mean, they do. They have Diablo. That's what people...
Well, okay, maybe, but that doesn't really count.
Fire in Diablo. Okay, so tell me if I'm right about this, because I believe this is a universe. Does anybody in the chat, and I'm sure most of you understand what the concept of a junk drawer is?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've seen people argue online that can be considered like a regional thing. I assumed everybody in the world understood the concept of a junk drawer. It's the place in your kitchen usually where a bunch of miscellaneous items go. The first thing I do when I would move into a new apartment is go buy a new thing of rubber bands to put in a junk drawer.
Washers.
Yes.
The little metal washers always are in there. Loose
wrenches.
Coins. There's usually crumbs in there for some reason.
Allen wrenches, if you don't like, skaters keep Allen wrenches in there with their skate tools and stuff like that because they're important. But if you put together IKEA furniture or anything like that, you've probably got a drawer full of Allen wrenches.
Bic pens that no longer work.
Yes. So, like, I remember, like, my house used to have just wayward Diablo sauces and Taco Bell sauces in the junk drawer.
Yeah, unfortunately our junk drawer also had miscellaneous sauces in there, and it was gross.
Now,
why? Why is that a thing?
Where I'm
like,
at
this
now,
is where we put our office supplies and our miscellaneous condiments. Why?
where I'm at now, we have relegated all extra sauces to their own bin in the pantry.
Got it.
So
that's a better choice.
You know,
but that does look. A Bell sauce looks like you would find it 20 years later in the junk drawer.
Well, it made more sense
with rusty scissors.
It made more sense with the Taco Bell ones because they're like bendable and they're not going to just explode everywhere. That one looks like you could accidentally like reach in the drawer and it just goes all over the place.
That's how the McDonald's syrups are shaped.
I have lots of I love a good junk drawer. It's important to have a good junk drawer in your home.
We have a $20 from Emily Ziegler. My husband is obsessed with this food item. He's gonna get fat now. You just made his day. Well, I hope you live in Texas or Chicago because that's where they're testing it out. Unfortunately for us, we're not gonna have any.
Wait,
but
I was under the impression that if you eat Taco Bell every day, you lose weight.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, unless you actually overdo it. Yeah. Like I try to keep it in moderation myself. But you can get like, what was it again? Wendy's is like basically giving away nuggets. It was like 50 nuggets
for $15.
Not even.
Was it $10?
For like $10 or $12 or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's actually where you should be going.
Yep, it's a good deal. I've looked right lately when we go to movies. Money's tight, okay? And I've I've been thinking about like maybe I'll
pack some food in your backpack.
Pack some food and bring it in somehow.
It's never as sus as you feel like it is. You're bringing this big stuffed backpack into the movie theater. They're not allowed to look inside it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess unless they think it's a gun, which wouldn't make sense.
The last few times I've been to the movies, I'm just like, man, that's just been costly to, especially if you.
And not worth it for what you order. I mean, it's literally just an order of fries.
Yes.
And it's what, $15?
With the drink.
That's crazy.
With the drink.
I would never. Yeah. But I'm also bringing the weirdest stuff in. I'm bringing like octopus.
Yeah.
Like,
it smells and
I don't even know what it is at this point.
Mary brings in stuff that smells and makes the loudest noise ever because it's like plastic containers.
It's like the loudest containers.
There's a reason why when you go to like the theaters that we go to, which are these they're not, I guess like prestige theaters with the good seating and whatever it is, the containers that the food you get in is always like cardboard so that it's not loud. Well,
they're just gonna have to put up with it when they're trying to focus on
the trailers are starting.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
The trailers are. Mary has to wait for the noise to get louder before she can open her ridiculously loud container.
See, I'm being courteous by
waiting. It's like
waiting.
those commercials that you see where it's like somebody at 3 a.m. with a water bottle and it just.
Sounds like a tsunami crashing.
Yeah, it does. I also love those videos where it's like me at 3 a.m. and he knocks like a spoon off the countertop and it goes flying across the apartment.
Oh my goodness. Do we have a trailer for the Baldwins?
No, I don't think so. I just saw I saw this picture here, guys. You have to see this.
This is insane. Okay, Alec Baldwin and his wife Iraria are launching their own reality TV show about their family life, I suppose. He said, "We're inviting you into our home to experience the ups and downs, the good, the bad, the wild, and the crazy. Home is the place we love to be most. We're the Baldwins, and we're going to TLC. God help you all."
Really, the safest people at his house is whoever's getting a piggyback ride from him because they'll be behind him and not in front of him.
Yeah, safety first.
Yeah. So, it would be hilarious. Okay, so I'll give him this. The craziest thing is he's like, watch me as I take my kids to a gun safety course.
Yikes. Like, is that gonna be the timeline when they started filming this?
He's petty enough.
When did they start filming this? Because it's probably been at least a year in the making.
Yeah.
While his trial is still awaiting.
Like next month or something like that, or 2 months from now?
Is that going to be in the show? Like, are they just not gonna mention it?
She that kid right there looks like he just watched him shoot somebody.
Also, I just don't agree with the whole concept of like involving your kids in this thing.
Yeah. I mean, just like making them all be part of a reality show in general.
That they didn't ask for. And like, there's obviously, you know, there are babies that don't even know how to like say that they don't want to be part of a TV show. I never liked that.
I mean, there's an upside to this. If he gets arrested because he's famous, right? He'll probably end up on house arrest. So he could just...
Perfect for the show.
He'll be able to work anyways.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
perfect.
But who else in the Baldwin family is going to be included in this?
I stand by my idea that what's her name?
Hailey
Bieber is kind of like Kramer, and she just explodes through the front door like this to go grab milk from the fridge or something, or she does her laundry there for no reason, and then the camera pans outside and Justin's honking the horn to get her to leave, and she just shows up once an episode for like 8 seconds.
Well, no, she like brings her skincare line for Ilaria to try it out.
Perfect.
And you also have like scenes of Ilaria doing her English lessons because she never learned English growing up because she's Spanish, obviously.
How long ago was it when he went on that random like Instagram live tirade that was like 20 minutes long, and I don't even remember what it was about. I just remember him veering off to talking about how he hates the New York Post except for their sports section. And he just goes on this spiel about how he hates the New York Post because Rupert Murdoch owns it or whatever. I think it was the New York Post, and then says except for the sports section. I like the sports section.
Was it about Hollywood blacklists?
Might have been. It might have been
that was what he talked about.
It might have been that. Yeah, it was like he was in his backyard. Anytime a celebrity tries to film an Instagram live, it looks ridiculous because they're on this property that most people will never be able to afford.
Well, evidently, you know, he's still bankable in Hollywood, even if it's just in the reality television sector.
Yeah.
He hasn't been blacklisted by any means.
No, he's
doing just fine.
He'll be fine. Unfortunately, he'll be fine.
And Ilaria is going to start her own lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
And sell jams and...
hilarious jams.
Ilaria.
All right. I've got some spicy news here for you guys. So somebody was at a Comic-Con, and they went as Kobe Bryant in a helicopter crash.
You gotta respect the effort that he put into this, though.
Look,
as disrespectful as it is.
As disrespectful as this is, look, I love Kobe Bryant on his face because I think that he stood for hard work and effort, and I think that he had a very, very outside of the allegations against him that were years ago. That's not what I'm addressing here. I'm saying that he was very much a proponent of hard work and stuff, which I think is an important lesson for kids. And obviously he's an extremely influential person in all of sports. But yeah, you can see...
the fact that this was a comic convention in China changes everything for me, actually.
Yes.
It brings a whole new perspective. Is he like famous in China? It was Kobe Bryant? Or is the NBA relevant to...
I mean, I don't know. It's
China. Do they even know who NBA players are?
Everybody knows who Kobe Bryant is. Kobe Bryant's kind of like
in China. Yeah. I don't know what they watch there. I don't know if they care about American sports, but you know, it's sustainable as well. He looks like he made it out of like bottles of Fanta and duct tape and bamboo.
That's crazy.
And just printed out pictures of Kobe's face.
Who was it? James Dean that died in a car crash. Died in like
I don't know.
Yeah, like I'm surprised there aren't more of that. Like there's a huge market for like creepy celebrity death memorabilia, so maybe this guy's a collector.
His is one of the most well known, so. Yeah. Does he fly away? Wait, let's watch the video.
Here we go.
Let's see it in action. What is he doing? This is extremely elaborate. Is this him like dying?
That is very disturbing.
As Kobe? What is this?
People were it says that people were outraged. It doesn't seem like the people there are outraged.
No, it doesn't at all. So this is like what? This is the doctor or something?
I'm guessing that the West is more upset about this.
Because it seems like the Chinese people are getting a kick out of it. Like they're loving it.
Yeah. It says the unidentified person created the crass costume and ensemble for the festival, and it says using plastic bottles and cardboard. That is ingenuity.
Looks like he could be a child. just from his stature, but maybe I'm wrong.
It says fans of Bryant have become enraged, with most slamming the disturbing imagery as gross and insulting. It is.
Well,
It is.
yes, but I'm not going to be, performatively outraged about it.
I'm not,
I
I don't know enough, nor, I'm not angry. But I can see if you were, like, somebody who's got, like, a Kobe tattoo.
If people can dress up as OJ and Nicole for Halloween, this is allowed to. It's fine.
All right. That's just thought you guys might find that interesting. All right. Warner Brothers reportedly wants to make Barbie 2 Electric Boogaloo, even if Greta Gerwig, I almost said Greta Thunberg.
Not Thunberg.
Not
Oh, my
Thunberg.
goodness.
Even if Greta Gerwig doesn't get involved.
Imagine a Barbie sequel starring Greta Thunberg as Barbie.
They could do it.
Margot Robbie gets ghosted, and
could do
they
it.
choose Greta for
They
the
could do
for the
it.
role.
Environmentally
I'm surprised they haven't
conscious
put her in
Barbie.
more Hollywood projects. I don't doubt that she's gotten requests, but this is crazy, and it's once again Warner Brothers not understanding the basic principle of why Barbie did well. It's a
would be-
movie made by a woman, it's made for women, and it's about a woman, and that's how you market it.
But here's the thing.
It can't just be made by anyone. You can't make Michael Bay the director of the Barbie movie.
Honestly,
that doesn't
yes.
work.
Yes, you could. Yes,
You would make him the Ken direct. You would make him the director of the Ken spin-off.
That was my next thing. I was to say, like, this is how the patriarchy reasserts itself. They make a Ken movie.
But I'm just saying, if you're making a Barbie sequel, it needs to be the same director.
Or at least maybe Greta Gerwig picks her successor, another female director who she thinks could do it.
It should be under her purview. Sure, at least as a producer or something. But
Yep. There's a $20 one there.
J Turbo 25. The NBA is huge in China. They banned fans for having free Hong Kong signs
remember
at
that.
games before the coof.
Yeah,
The coof
I
cough.
remember that.
I don't remember that happening. I
Yes.
guess I memory hold it.
They could have what's her name? Look, I say just do it. Just make the movie. Make the Ken movie next.
If you make a Ken movie, that's fine if it's for dudes, but
It can be called like
if it's a Barbie sequel, I will not accept it.
Barbie. I'm just Ken. It's Barbie : I'm just Ken.
No, if we're going in Furiosa fashion, where you take the irrelevant
I'm
side
Just
character,
Ken, a Barbie
it would be
story.
called Ken, a Barbie saga. And Barbie doesn't make a single appearance in the movie.
Perfect.
And then they're like, why isn't it doing well?
No, there's like no. That's the thing though. A lot of people believe Ryan Gosling was the best part of that movie.
Yeah.
The real question is, men, do you hate the feminists enough to go and support this just to own the femmes?
Yeah, men definitely wouldn't have gone to see the Barbie movie without Ken in it. I believe that, and
their girlfriends would have dragged them along to
it wouldn't have done nearly as well without him in it.
Correct.
Just word of mouth
Yep.
wise.
Yep. All
But
right.
yeah, this doesn't need a sequel anyway.
All right.
Greta Gerwig was already asked if they needed to make a sequel for it, and she was like, "Why?"
I appreciate it. I appreciate that approach to it. Why does it need a sequel? I don't think Fury Road needed a sequel.
No.
I didn't need to know how Furiosa came to be who she was. It wasn't
Some
important.
stories don't need to be told.
Yep. All right, this is a bit of a white pill.
I guess. Millie Bobby Brown was walking around, what was it, the Universal Orlando resort with her husband,
With
Bon Jovi's son.
He will forever be known as Bon Jovi's son.
And she wore these shorts that say wifey on the butt.
And a hat.
Oh, what does the
The
hat
hat
say?
says wife of the party.
Oh,
So she's embracing her role
okay.
Entirely. Look,
She got
she's
like
what? She's
secret
20 years-
married, right?
Yeah.
Her like whole wedding ceremony was kept away from the public eye, which is a good sign for their relationship.
She's what, 20 years old? Like, isn't
Something
that
like
kind
that.
of a good example
Yeah.
to be setting, assuming that it lasts?
Yeah, a lot of people talk about how, if Taylor Swift got married and got pregnant, it would, cause a baby boom of the 21st century. But as long as that's unlikely to happen, I think Millie Bobby Brown is stepping up to the plate.
A Millie boom.
A Millie Bobby baby boom. A Millie baby boom. It's
good.
going to happen, folks. Philip Reed said, if they make Barbie 2, they need Oppenheimer 2 just in case they thought we were sorry. Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Please, no.
Yeah. Yep.
That's predictive programming.
I mean, or just like make the big. Remember the show Chernobyl, which did big numbers a couple years ago? They'll just make a movie adaptation of Chernobyl.
I never watched that.
It's depressing.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't.
As you can imagine, a show about Chernobyl would be depressing. But look. People are looking for more and more, like, we can't seem to get away from people wanting celebrities to be role models as much as we would like them to stop looking for celebrities for how to guide your life. If I'm looking towards a positive role model for women today, if I have to choose between somebody who puts activist first in their label, and I'm sure she's 20, so she probably considers herself an activist too, but embracing the role of actually getting married and putting it first in your life, it seems important, and maybe that's a good thing.
She hasn't been particularly annoying about activism stuff.
No.
At least not as far as I can remember. She's just like, she has her brand, and she is on Stranger Things, and then after Stranger Things, she might just like dip out.
I like dude's shorts.
Oh, the
American flag shorts.
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
Even though she's British, she would have the Union Jack ones.
It should say colonizer on one of their shirts.
She got colonized.
She got colonized.
So. Oh, and another weird but good news.
Yes, more of a white pill.
Boy Meets World star Trina McGee pregnant at 54 years old.
54.
You heard me right. It's not even 45, which would be, impressive enough.
And this is not surrogacy.
54. And no, there's no surrogate. And she said this on Instagram, at the tender age of 54, I have found myself pregnant. Please bless us with your prayers for a safe delivery. Thank you.
She found herself pregnant. She just slipped and fell and was like, whoops, I'm pregnant.
I don't know. Is she married? Does she know who the father is?
Well, she said we found ourselves pregnant. I feel like if she was single, she would have said
she said I.
Oh, she said I. Okay.
In the
I thought she said oh yeah.
But yeah, she said gonna sign off social media for a bit.
She said please bless us, which could mean her and the baby or her and the baby.
I don't know, but it's shocking because that's like a medical miracle basically.
But she's got other kids.
Yeah. I've actually heard you're gonna have an easier time
getting an
getting
ex-husband.
Okay.
So it says she previously welcomed 2 children with ex-husband Cortland Davis, who she was married to from 91 to 2001. She later welcomed another child during a different relationship. According to People, Trina has been married to fellow actor Marcello Thedford for the last 16 years. So they've been stable and together for a long time.
Okay.
Good for them.
Yeah, I've heard it's easier for a woman in her 40s or I guess even 50s to get pregnant if she's been pregnant before.
Okay.
Like your body just like knows what to do. So she's probably announcing it because she's already fairly far along.
It would be a mistake to announce it early at that age if you weren't already pretty far along.
Yeah, so good for her.
Really good for her. That's awesome. And
like I said, actually crazy.
I'm looking for white pills wherever I can find them these days. You don't seem to find them many places in Hollywood, but I'll take good news where I can get them.
Yeah, a lot of the comments thought she was like trying to do some sort of prank. That would not be a good prank at all.
What the hell is the point of the prank? Also, if that's a recent picture, she looks good for her age.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I wouldn't have pegged her for 54.
Good for her. We support this. Hopefully, hopefully they have a safe and a safe delivery.
Definitely.
All right, guys. So HBO Max is in trouble. People are upset because certain shows featuring queer identity have been canceled, and now people are doing boycott HBO Max. This is giving to me. So I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter talking about boycotting Captain America: Brave New World because of the Sabra character, because the character is Israeli.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nobody's boycotting this because of weirdos on Twitter saying that they're not going to go see a movie with the Jewish Captain America.
Even the people saying they're boycotting it either aren't boycotting it or wouldn't have watched it anyway.
Yeah.
But Don't Stream on Max was trending the other day, and I was actually shocked to find out it had nothing to do with Palestine.
Crazy.
Most boycotts are these days. So here's why they're actually boycotting the platform. One person said, I #don't stream on Max because they keep canceling diverse and queer shows like Our Flag Means Death for no logical reason, even though they outperform many others. Their tendency to shelve already finished movies while paying ridiculous sums to their CEO doesn't help their cause either.
I think somewhere I hear the CEO crying into just a pile of money right now. I do. I think David Zaslav just blew his nose on a check for $1 million.
He has a dartboard of Bob Iger's face where he just celebrates the fact that he's not Bob Iger all the time.
I understand that it's encouraging my worst impulses, but every time people get mad at David Zaslav, I laugh. And they're like, I hate that guy. Like, it is like, because they're mad at him because he canceled Acme the
Coyote versus Acme, Batgirl.
And I'm just like, ha ha ha.
What else? Was there anything else that was confirmed?
Those were the big ones. And look, HBO, I've enjoyed the fact that HBO has licensed out more of their content to other streamers lately, which I think is the right move for most of these companies to do. Don't just let your DC properties sit on HBO Max where nobody's going to watch it because you just upped your price another $1, which they did.
As did Spotify Premium at the same time.
But they upped the price for the ad-free. It's corporate greed. From $15.99 to $16.99 a month, and the yearly plan has gone up from $149 to $169 a year.
$15.99 was already insane.
I like HBO Max.
That's crazy.
I do. But here's the thing. Like, okay, so I used Max lately. So what have I been watching lately? I've been watching Todd McFarlane's Spawn, the animated show. Me and Olivia have been watching she's never seen The Mentalist. We're watching The Mentalist through. Fringe, Torchwood, some old Doctor Who, The Sopranos, The Wire, Boardwalk Empire, I think, or that might be Hulu. But the point is like there's a lot on there, and those are just the stuff that.
And it's all everything you listed is old.
Yes, yeah, but I think
none
that's
of it is
the point.
the new queer and diverse content.
No, I don't watch any of the new stuff that they make. But also, like the whole point of HBO Max was originally because of with Warner Brothers Discovery was like you'd get access to like the Discovery type shows, which is just more geared towards women, right? Reality shows, HGTV-esque type stuff. There's a lot of like fixer-upper shows on there and things like that don't interest me, but appeals to a wider demographic. But if you're gonna complain every time they remove one of these shows, you're going to be in for it because it's not just shows of a certain nature. They're canceling a lot of stuff if they don't think it's going to make them enough money.
It's also not just HBO Max that's doing that.
Correct.
Netflix is notorious for canceling a lot of shows, but also the quote-unquote queer shows.
Tulsa
like
King,
Warrior Nun.
Somebody mentioned Tulsa King. Tulsa King is on Paramount, I believe, not on HBO Max.
I thought so.
Yeah. So with all the other Taylor Sheridan shows.
So I guess they're doing this for Pride Month as well. Another one said, "I don't stream on Max because they talk quality yet cancel their most critically acclaimed diverse shows in favor of lower performing shows with big IP. HBO was once a prestigious channel. Now it's leading the death of television."
I mean, I think that if I was to actually say who I think would be leading the death of television, it would be the extraneous networks like Peacock and Paramount and Stars, which nobody,
I forgot about that one.
Not enough people use, but have their own networks.
Yes.
Right? Like I use Paramount exclusively for old crime shows, but a lot of those are available on Netflix as well. Right? Like,
I mean, I don't know why they're saying these are higher performing shows than all the other ones when the data shows that like all the highest performing shows were on air from like 2005 to like 2015.
And critically acclaimed means dick.
It doesn't mean it doesn't mean anything. They're saying it's higher performing when that really means it just gets random awards or good reviews from different media outlets. Another one said, Max has had its highest cancellation rate since 2020. Max has canceled an additional 8 original scripted series since then. All of them diverse shows that former executives claim David Zaslav was on a mission to kill. It was so refreshing to have a lighthearted queer show that appealed to older people. Our flag means death is so incredibly unique, but that's a quality that HBO Max apparently no longer values.
Look, lighthearted, I'm all for it. I'm all like, one of the things that I realized lately is to me it's less about the messaging as much as it is I'm just sick of depressing television.
Sure.
Like I don't like everyone and rightfully so. Like for the people that love House of the Dragon, it did infinitely better than Rings of Power. But to me, like
it's too dark.
Game of Thrones never. Like I watched
For
it.
me.
I literally watched Game of Thrones out of like a weird social obligation because the friends that I was living with someone at the time, and we would watch it when the new episodes would come on because it was just kind of a thing that our friends were doing. Together. But for the most part, it didn't really interest me long term. That's not genre, like high fantasy is not a genre that I really care about. But I get it. And House of the Dragon season 1 did infinitely better than Rings of Power over at Amazon. So they've got that going for them. But you're just not going to hear enough of an outcry from people that identity-driven shows that are made for a specific market are a reason. You're just not going to hear enough people complaining that show being canceled is reason enough to boycott a service.
Yeah, and this relates to a larger topic about mass appeal versus catharsis, self-insert plot lines, and things like that. So recently, Pixar announced that they're doing a big turnaround for their brand, and they're going to move forward focusing on clear mass appeal with their films and less focus on directors with autobiographical tales like Luca and Turning Red. The studio's movies should be less a pursuit of any director's catharsis and instead speak to a commonality of experience. And Disney is banking on sequels to get Pixar back on track after they've had multiple failures. And their sequels have been their most successful projects, unfortunately. They recently talked about bringing back Finding Nemo, bringing back The Incredibles, doing more Toy Story movies.
All the Toy Story movies are among their most successful films that they've ever done.
Is like their exact game plan. It'll be 3 movies every 2 years, and every other one will be a sequel or spin-off, while the rest are standalone concepts or potential seeds for new franchises. This is a balance that should be able to keep everyone happy. But everyone was not happy. Everyone threw a gigantic shit fit.
But a lot of people liked Luca, so that's kind of an aberration to me because a lot of people seem to really enjoy Luca. But
the people who watched it seemed to like it, but it wasn't enough people. So it didn't make any money for Disney.
What I find interesting about the concept is like, first of all, director's autobiographical tales. Wouldn't that mean it has to be the writer-director's autobiographical tales because the writer's the one telling the initial story?
I think they're just going for the colloquial
and from that
reference.
What I think the problem is not enough time spent editing your scripts, meaning that a writer can start with an autobiographical story that with strong editing, and I do mean strong, meaning like there have to be cuts, there has to be adjustments made, you can make a story more universally appealing through script rewrites and more people being given a chance to read it and say, look, I don't understand what this means.
I think what they're trying to say is movies for kids shouldn't have a bunch of adult baggage.
Yeah.
Like they pointed out Luca and Turning Red because I heard Luca is an allegory for gay youths who are in the closet because it features 2 young boys who are secretly sea monsters, which apparently is an allegory for being gay. Okay. And then Turning Red, obviously, is a story about a young girl getting her period for the first time, which just has a bunch of baggage related to like destigmatizing women's menstrual symptoms or whatever. Like that is just not.
Period movies.
It is not for kids content.
I think they
make
just don't
it
know
fun.
That's not what a period piece is. That's something completely different.
They weren't taught that in film school. But it's just like a bunch of adults trying to tell kids what they should find entertaining. And one person replied, "There's something very disgusting about telling directors, writers, and artists that their experiences and inspirations aren't appealing enough for the masses."
They're not.
How is that disgusting? What does that even mean? Like, I just cannot compute why your story matters when we're trying to sell the story.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
So there was something that I mentioned in like a tweet that I had yesterday where I was talking about. Okay, so the landscape in Hollywood is different. Movie theaters are no longer a communal experience that they used to be. What was once a small amount of media being created for a large number of people has been fractured into endless new shows and media being made for niche sectors of audience. And that's the problem, right? Is that you can't make things for niche sectors of audience, nor can you make them just to get something off your chest when it costs $100 million or $200 million to make. That is one thing. If you want to go and you want to make a film, by yourself, you want to make a short film that's all about your personal life experience.
It's all about your period.
That's fine.
Your tampons.
That's fine. But it's not the job of a billion-dollar studio to foot a $200 million bill to help you reach some type of personal catharsis if that personal catharsis doesn't bring in the money needed to pay back what it costs to make.
And importantly, if that personal catharsis is not appropriate for children.
Yeah. And that's on the executive. That's not even on the director. That's on the executives for not nixing it when they needed to.
Another one said, so more of a focus on making movies marketable instead of good.
Yes!
Sad to see. Okay, marketable means good because marketable means the vast majority of people will enjoy it, meaning the consensus is that it's good.
Yes.
Okay. Another one said, mass appeal isn't turning red a metaphor about girls going through their period and their bodies changing. I thought movies directed at girls and women are considered mass appeal. Maybe what they meant to say was no more Asian movies because the protagonist is Asian. Another one said, okay, so focusing on films for white people.
I knew that.
Got it.
I knew that one was coming.
Another one said, Turning Red was about a young girl becoming an adolescent and getting her period. Nearly 50% of the population will experience that. You can't get more common than that. It's not for kids' entertainment to talk about our bodily fluids and things of that nature.
And so
it's just, that's not a fun kids movie. That's, once again, an adult story that they're retelling as an adult from their childhood to get things off their chest when they really need to go to therapy or something.
One of the things that they pushed out as an example of the opposite was Lightyear failing. Which is supposedly have mass appeal.
Yeah, they said Lightyear bombed, and that was the exact mass appeal they're seeking, a spin-off of a massive IP based on their most popular character. Yet it didn't generate returns. Why is that not being talked about?
I think Tim Allen not being a part of it is a huge reason for that. I think the fact that nobody understood that the movie wasn't the same, was a different character.
Right.
It was based on the Lightyear of Toy Story was the toy in which the real person is based on.
It's deceptive marketing.
Yes.
So people went to it, didn't like it, and didn't tell other people to go see it.
Correct. And without good word of mouth, you don't get people back to the box office the second weekend in a row. The best way a movie can make its money isn't just a strong opening weekend. It needs low drops. Thank you, guys. It needs low financial drops from week to week, which is only attainable through good word of mouth and people being willing to see movies more than once.
Thank you.
Look, you can complain all you want about Lightyear failing, but Toy Story 4 made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, they said that Toy Story is actually about a white middle class boy who's I only assume is straight and cis-het.
Yes.
As well. So that doesn't that's not relatable enough to the diverse audience.
You cannot I think one of the problems for most of these industries is the ridiculously large amount of output that goes on now, meaning that you have spread yourselves too thin across too many markets. Back in the day, it really was an illusion. Like, there wasn't a whole lot to choose from. So everyone had to communally go and see these things. First of all, there wasn't the internet to compete with. There wasn't social media. You didn't have streamers. You didn't have Mr. Beast. You didn't have Kai Cenat taking away the attention from your movies. Sure. You just didn't. You had sports for adults, but movies and sports are different. They're not really the same thing. Plenty of people who like sports like movies too, but a lot of people would consider streamers or social media to be the same type of entertainment as going to see movies, which is just no longer the sell that it used to be. So everyone's attention is divided, which means you need to make these stories even more universally appealing in whatever way you can.
I think that the real issue Pixar has run into is that they're hiring a bunch of millennial narcissists who think that kids' entertainment is their playground to, first of all, push their own political viewpoints, but also this weird impulse toward like self-centered catharsis and self-disclosure because they still haven't accepted that they're adults yet. And I mean, I've noticed the same thing in Bluey, where it's like people are constantly talking about how Bluey is for adults now. And it's like, can kids have anything that's for kids and not also like all of this stupid therapeutic?
Miss Rachel says no.
Yeah, it's like Miss Rachel all over again.
I also
there's no like space for kids entertainment now.
I also was thinking about, you're right, and I was thinking about something the other day about the concept of representation. What I find interesting about it is that's an idea that works more for an actor than it does for a consumer. Meaning, like, a lot of times an actor will need to find something in a character they can identify with to latch onto it and allow them to give an authentic portrayal, to find some way to connect to the character, even if everything else about, like, Sebastian Stan likely has to find something about playing Donald Trump that he can connect with.
Yeah.
Even if it's like his own saying, like, look, in my worst moments, I'm vain. This isn't my interpretation of Trump or whatever, though I do think he is vain. But the point is, what I'm saying is, like, he has to think, like, look, I'm vain at times. This script calls for a vain character. That concept of, like, seeing yourself in a character makes far more sense from an actor's perspective than it does from a consumer's perspective. Maybe it's not true. I can only speak to personal experience, but my life is pretty boring. I don't want to see myself in characters. If anything, I want to see something so far outside the realm of what I've lived that it's interesting. And I feel like writing would want to be the same way. I guess maybe today you could say the writers just aren't as creative as they used to be, so they have to write about...
They're genuinely not.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's mainly millennials who are taking over these industries, and they're just not doing a good job of writing content that's made for children if they are still mentally children.
Yeah.
They are literally just stuck in Arrested Development, can't accept that they're adults, and they're making things for themselves. It's gross. It gives me like a weird feeling to watch something that's supposedly marketed toward children, but was made for adults. You know? It's a weird mismatch that keeps happening.
We'll have to wait and see whether Pixar turns it around. I'll be honest, most of the time when I see these types of claims, I think they ring hollow. Just like Disney saying, like, we're going to focus on quality rather than quantity. What does that even mean?
It never happens.
No, it doesn't. So we'll wait and see.
180 million on the Acolyte. Yeah, I don't think so.
All right. Let's go ahead. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's start with cringe.
Okay. All right, guys. So I saw this on Twitter yesterday and thought you guys should have to see it too.
Yeah. It's only
Stop
right.
body shaming other people. I was at Disneyland today. I wanted to have fun with my siblings, but our day was ruined by all the people that were making fun of the size of my body. And the worst part is that they teach their kids to do the same. They kept taking photos of me, they gave me bad looks all the time, or just kept laughing at me. I know you may think that I am exaggerating, and that is my fault for being a big girl, but this is literally what God gave me, and I have to embrace every single part of me. Even if you have a condition or you look different, you shouldn't get bullied for the way you look. I would never talk negatively about someone else's appearance. Respect is key. This should be a safe place where everyone feels comfortable. And I wasn't doing anything, just existing. At the end of the day, I just wanted to have fun like everyone else. If you don't like something, stop hating and keep it for yourself.
Okay, that's not what God gave you though.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I can't prove that.
That's
but,
what a doctor in Colombia
maybe
gave
the
you.
doctor's name was like GHAD.
By technicality, you win.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thoughts?
I have no words.
Okay.
I'm in shock.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's do cue to the day. Look, the society's crazy desire to feel safe at all times is going to be the end of us one day. The idea of just people being universally understanding is
You have to not
childish.
notice my gigantic ass.
correct. All right, let's go to Q to the day. First one here is from Bible in a Year. It says, for Q to the day, we got chickens. The other weekend, my 2-year-old son, for my 2-year-old son to care for. He loves taking care of his papa's chickens so much. Last summer, picture 1, we decided he needed his own this year.
Aw.
Oh,
Cute. He's chasing them. Love the hat. Beautiful.
beautiful. Beautifully done.
It's a serve.
Very cute. Okay.
We're
All
not
right.
going to mention the chicken nuggets at Taco Bell
No.
around them.
Don't know where those came from. All right. This one is from Terrence Rice. Says, doing my part for Q to the day, and thank you for that. This is Bruni, my wife's crested gecko. He likes to use my dreads as vines and will scale up any and everything.
Aw.
That is awesome.
I like it. Whoa.
That's awesome.
I didn't know they were that
Bro
big.
going for the ceiling.
Dude.
A bug he gonna eat.
That
Did he
actually
get the
is
bug?
very useful.
Yes.
He just goes around cleaning the house.
Oh, he is. There he is. He's on the dreads.
I love it.
I love it. All right, guys, you can submit cringe and I guess cringe of the day too. Cute of the day, hashtag cute of the day, and then tag me in that as well. But tag PCC Pets, which is the easiest way for me to find that. All right, it is time to go ahead and get started. What the hell did Kanye do now?
A former employee of Kanye West is launching a lawsuit against him with MeToo allegations. Her name is Lauren Pisciata, and she worked for Kanye starting in 2021 as an assistant, whatever that means.
Executive assistant.
Before that, she had an expansive work experience in OnlyFans.
Well, she also made music with him. She had three.
So,
she contributed to 3 songs on Donda.
Right. So she was making $1 million a year on OnlyFans at the time that they met in July 2021. She collaborated with him on his fashion line and the Donda album. And a year later, Kanye allegedly came to her and said he wanted her to be godlike. And here's where Kanye goes Captain Save-A-Ho. He promised to pay her $1 million salary if she quit OnlyFans.
No, I think
and
that's
worked for him.
in addition to the $1 million
No, he
was
asked.
paying.
He asked her to delete her OnlyFans account and promised to pay her $1 million a year if she did that.
I thought it was that he was already paying her $1 million a year and then offered her $1 million more.
No, I don't think so. He offered her the job as an exchange for her to delete OnlyFans.
Okay.
So, yeah, he tried to make a hoe, not a housewife, but an assistant, I guess. And she took up the offer because I guess, you know, he's willing to match the payments of her simps as just one simp. And she claims that shortly after Kanye hired her, he began sending her text messages that were extremely graphic and sexual in nature. And she alleges that those messages made her extremely uncomfortable. But can we show some images of this woman? I mean, I don't mean to judge a book entirely by its cover, but I think we know how vapid she is just from the fact that this is what she looks like, and she made a living off of OnlyFans before she met him.
Yes.
So I highly doubt that she was blushing at these text messages.
I don't know if she blushes.
I don't think she's capable of that.
I could be wrong.
Could we just show the text message on screen instead of reading it? Because it's so vulgar that I don't even want
The
to
one
read it
from
out
Daily
loud.
Loud. Yeah,
I'll just start off the text and I won't say the rest, but you can read it for yourself. One of the alleged text messages read, "Is my dick racist? It is. This effing racist dick of mine." Yeah, and he goes on after that, getting more and more explicit.
It does get more explicit.
After that. Another text message said, "See, my problem is I be wanting to F, and then after I F, I want a girl to tell me how hard they been F'd while I'm effing them. Then I want her to cheat on me." So Kanye allegedly has a cuckolding fetish.
My favorite was one of the comments says, "Why does it sound like he's dropping bars though?"
He was actually just doing his creative process, and she was his creative collaborator. Yeah. She just totally misunderstood the intentions there.
Correct.
But yeah, he was just, texting her about his sexual fantasies.
Said he would also call her under the guise of discussing work-related matters, only to then masturbate while they were on the phone together.
Yeah, he would ask her if she could guess what he was doing when he was on the phone, and she also claims he was fixated on the penis size of her boyfriends, which is also strange. And he also sent her videos of him having sex with other women.
As one who runs a company like Yeezy does.
And I guess she just was so uncomfortable that she kept working for him.
Another incident allegedly saw West lock Pisciata in a room with him during a flight to Paris, claiming that he needed to talk with her before lying down on his bed and masturbating under the covers until he fell asleep while she was sat on the chair across from him.
Okay.
She also said in the lawsuit that she was promoted to chief of staff for his various companies around September 2022, and that she was told that she would receive an additional $3 million $3 million. However, the following month, she claimed that she was fired and offered a $3 million severance package, which she did not receive.
Right. So she's suing essentially for all of the pay that she was promised and didn't receive. So that's breach of contract, sexual harassment, wrongful termination, and a hostile work environment.
I guess it makes more sense what you were saying then, because like when I thought it said like I thought he was paying her $1 million a year and she had the OnlyFans, and then he offered her like an additional $1 million. But no short-sighted person would give up something that was bringing in $1 million a year for a one-time $1 million payment.
Yeah, she was like a massively successful OnlyFans hoe. And he decided that he wanted to save her from prostituting herself. And this was his solution. I don't know if any of this is true. I mean, I saw a lot of responses who were saying like, I don't care what the truth is. He's innocent. Like, I don't care what she says. It's false. Yeah. So a lot of people are just dismissing it out of hand. I like the theory that Diddy is like, seeing there's a lot of heat on him right now because Rolling Stone published this 6-month-long investigation into him. So he just said like, deploy the hose. And they were like, at the ready, sir. So they launched this lawsuit for Kanye to get some of the heat right now.
Certainly when I think of somebody who's the chief of staff for a company that size, that's usually what I think of.
What is she assisting him with?
I have no idea.
What are her services?
Yes. I guess if you're an executive assistant, she's scheduling meetings, she's setting up dinners and lunches between you and potential business partners and all of that stuff, and accompanying you on flights across the country, where then, he sits in bed and jerks off and she watches.
I guess he realized he couldn't do the same thing with Milo as his chief of staff.
Maybe the stuff was in the fine print and she just didn't read it thoroughly. I don't know how well he writes his contracts.
I don't know either.
Like,
it sounds like it's just something that he said to her and didn't mean it.
Yeah. It's very hard for a lot of people these days to, I'm sure that a lot of people, Kanye's already got a lot of detractors, he's got a lot of people who dislike him who are going to take the claims at face value, but also a lot of people who are very anti-Me Too right now aren't going to take these types of claims at face value. They're going to see it as a cash grab, and they're going to have a very hard time getting past the fact that she worked, doing OnlyFans beforehand, which a lot of people will see as, even if all of this is true, you deserved what you got.
I mean, if if I had to guess, I think it's a cash grab and it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, her being uncomfortable with it,
that part is dubious
that's
to me.
something I doubt.
But I don't.
Are you going to tell me they never hooked up? Like, come on. But the text messages about him like calling his dick racist. That sounds exactly like Kanye. That sounds exactly like
all
something
the comments
he would say.
were like. To be fair, this sounds exactly like something he would say.
And it is. If I had to place bets, like I'm pretty sure that that's true. Like, I don't know if it's warranting a multi-million-dollar lawsuit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a cash grab. It's true, and it's also not that serious.
Like, I guess Kim has more of a right to be angry right now. She's like, apparently people are being showed an explicit video of her. That's not the. Is this different than the one that's famous?
It's alleging one of the videos was him with Kim, because I thought it was just some random model.
It says, okay, so it says in 20. Oh, maybe okay. So it says the Vulture. In 2022, the Vulture's rapper was accused of sharing an explicit image of his ex-wife Kim Kardashian with Adidas employees.
Oh, okay, that's
remember
different.
that.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, but not in this specific lawsuit. I mean, especially because he's made a lot of comments about being in interracial marriages, which he's done twice now.
Yep.
And he has this really strange hyperfixation on it.
Yeah, there's more.
The idea
of those
that he would be
claims.
making a lot of those sexual messages about their race involved, like this weird like race fetishism. It sounds exactly like something that he would say.
I wonder what 3 songs she contributed to on Donda.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of a disgrace to name that album after your mother, though, after you hear the lyrics.
So it's if I was to guess, this will go away. He will settle out of court, and this will go away.
He's being persecuted just like Donald Trump.
I don't think that this is going to have a Johnny Depp trial.
Well, I mean, I think her severance pay was supposed to be hush money.
Yeah.
So she's the Stormy Daniels in this situation.
Maybe she was a teacher at Donda Academy.
Maybe. Imagine that.
Executive
Literal porn teacher.
Executive vice president, vice principal at Donda Academy.
You call her, you're one of the parents of the students there. And she's like, what?
What are you talking about? All right. We'll keep an eye on this, but who knows? I mean, he's got lots of turbulent news. There was that huge walkout remember there was like the walkout at his company recently too?
Yeah, supposedly led by Milo himself.
Yep. All right. Maybe this is a story leaked by Milo.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Actually.
All right.
True.
Let's do some crisis. Let's do some super chats.
Super chats. Brett Dasovic sent us testing, damn it.
Yes, I did.
We got a $20 just now from Skateman 2010. First time super chat, but thanks for keeping me entertained during work. Construction in AZ for the past year and a half.
Thank you.
Wow.
So much. And that must be hot as hell.
I do not envy you.
That's crazy. But thank
Glad
you.
we can help.
Very much. Have you ever, it's like my favorite is that Bill Burr skit when he talks about, he's like when women talk about being a mother is the hardest job. And he goes, I thought roofing in July is a redhead.
In Arizona.
He's in Arizona, but yeah, that's what you think.
Shane H. Wilder said, Happy Taco Tuesday, Brett and Mary. At least the crisis meter is working after Chris came and hit it with a wrench. Let the money guns fly.
Oh, so here's the funny thing. So every time like you get like a super chat during the show, it shows up like on my phone because it's connected to an app. And last night at 2 a.m, my phone just started going, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And apparently everything from yesterday
it all just
populated
randomly
at
went
one
off.
time. So maybe the app got it was down for maintenance or something all day.
So it was dark in here and the crisis party went off and just like for all of the dust mites to party.
All of the stink bugs got scared to high hell.
Yeah. Corey Anderson said, I don't like when Mary is gone. Well, I don't like it either, but sometimes things come up.
It
Things
will
happen.
only be one day.
It's just tomorrow.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said, Kellen, Sarah, and Phil, how is Woman Wednesday going to work with only one woman?
Tough bounce.
I mean, Kellen is like, we
love Kellen here.
He's sort of a woman.
He's in touch with his feminine side.
He's in touch with his feminine side. Brewmaster Monk said, "Good afternoon, Crisis Commanders."
Well, thank you.
I still
good
like
afternoon
Crisis
to you.
Actors better,
Yes.
honestly.
Let's hold off on the rest and let's come back after the fact.
Okay.
It is time to talk about what are we doing next? We're doing the A-listers,
Yes.
the Gen Z and Millennial A-listers, according to The Hollywood Reporter.
Yeah, the Hollywood Reporter just put together their official top 10 list of all the new A-listers in the industry who are going to be replacing the Leonardo DiCaprios, the Scarlett Johanssons, the Margot Robbies, the Tom Cruises, the Brad Pitts, etc. I don't know if they have what it takes, to be honest.
Look, I don't even know if any of those people. It's like Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Cruise and who else? Denzel and
Sure.
I guess Brad Pitt and George Clooney, but they don't act a lot these days.
Well, they asked, are Timothée Chalamet, Sydney Sweeney, and Glenn Powell the new Leo DiCaprio, Scarlett Johansson, and Tom Cruise?
Okay.
Studio execs are certainly hoping they are, with Hollywood betting on stars like Paul Mescal and Jenna Ortega to carry slates and save the box
I thought
office.
Paul Mescal, who's not somebody that I know who he is because of my job, but he's not an actor that I'm familiar with his work
Most
on.
people
that
not.
he's like an indie dude. Like
Right.
he's the Halsey of acting.
But it takes all sorts.
He's the Halsey of acting, meaning like he's a mainstream person, but somehow gets considered an indie dude.
Yeah, so it's kind of for every genre they chose someone. Meet the new A-list, the 10 young movie stars taking Hollywood by storm. Number 1, Austin Butler, the Golden Boy. And I ask you to excuse all of the shitty nicknames
They gave them to
they
him, not
gave
us.
to the stars. But yeah, Austin Butler, I really only recognize him from being on Zoe 101.
Okay.
I know he was in Elvis.
in Dune.
In
Dune 2.
He's not recognizable in Dune though. So I don't really have a huge impression of him.
He's got kind of a Brad Pitt-esque look there in that photo. Like young Brad Pitt-esque with the facial
little.
hair that way and the hair.
Yeah, I never liked Brad
Like
Pitt's
there's an
look.
there's an archetype here. Like I started actually writing an article that I'm still working on that I might see if they want to put out on Timcast about
Sure.
archetypes in acting. Meaning like you can look at two actors who don't necessarily look exactly alike, but you can tell that a casting director sees them in the same light. as that
Because you're a
person.
casting director at heart.
I am.
So
I am.
what would Austin Butler be for?
I mean,
He doesn't look like an action star.
no, that's the thing is like, but Brad Pitt was somebody who did, when you think of Fight Club, you don't necessarily think of an action movie, but Mr. and Mrs. Smith is an action movie, and stuff like that. But Brad Pitt had acting chops.
Means it needs some other element.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he has
But
the
they say
he's traditionally handsome.
They pointed out he could follow in the footsteps of Brad Pitt
Yes.
instead of like a traditional action star. Timothée Chalamet, the
Pretty
sure
much.
thing. So I guess they're saying he's just marketable for any genre and you can plop him into any IP and it'll work.
I mean, he's kind of, again, one of the things I'm really surprised that's not in here is Tom Holland.
Yeah. Tom Holland, it seems like he's already established, so
More
they
so than
wouldn't
these guys?
they wouldn't see him as like a rising star.
Yeah.
At this point in his career, even though he like how old is he? He's only like 28,
I think
right?
he's in his late 20s.
Yeah, so he's younger than a lot of the people on this list. He's just had a faster rise to fame. But I don't like the Timothée Chalamet look that's just spreading.
Too pretty boy?
He could be in like
And maybe it's just this ridiculous outfit that he's wearing in this photo.
I mean, and they're always dressing him up like a doll and
Again, like when I see this, I think like this would have been Ezra Miller's spot if Ezra Miller hadn't just blown up his career entirely.
He has
or
the
maybe
look
maybe the Paul
for-
Mescal spot would have been the Ezra Miller spot if he hadn't blown up his career.
True.
Yeah.
In an alternate universe, Ezra Miller would have been on this list.
Yes.
But like someone who looks like Timothée Chalamet, he's either playing a gay character or he should be in a teen heartthrob movie, but he's too old for those movies now. And I don't know. I'm not into the whole low T scruffy look. But that's just me. The next one was Jacob Elordi, who also played Elvis.
Yes.
They're running out of ideas. They called him a shy heartthrob. You know,
I think of like young Elijah Wood.
Oh,
In the
I
same,
don't know.
in the same kind of pretty boy-esque look.
maybe.
Yeah.
He's definitely not an action hero. I mean, this is something that
young-
we're thinking about because we saw Josie post earlier. This is a picture of John Wayne at 23 years old.
Who looks like
he
these
looks
people in their
decades
30s.
older than people in this list who are in their 30s.
Because they were all smoking at the age of 8 back then.
Is it that, or is it just, I don't know, something in the water, something in the breast milk, something ain't right.
It's
Something
all the
ain't right.
microplastics.
Because I don't know, like these dudes, it's not like they're super feminine looking, but they're definitely not.
Looking their age.
They don't look their age.
Here's a picture of Jacob Elordi. Look, and I guess the point is like not everybody has to be an action star.
Yeah,
There's a
that's
role
fine.
for the independent film. You know, the dude who's gonna eventually be bullied by his girlfriend in the movie. This guy could absolutely play that guy.
He was offered Superman, right? That was a rumor.
I don't know if that was ever actually confirmed.
Yeah.
And to be fair, if you look at David Cornsweet now, after putting on like a gazillion pounds of muscle, he doesn't look like the same person either.
Yeah, but he was
So-
also kind of a nobody.
Yes.
Like nobody had heard of him. And then Paul Mescal, I only know of him because there's a meme of him doing one night stands with women and then they go out on a walk the next day and he runs away from them. And he just leaves.
He's about to be in the Gladiator sequel.
Oh, in place of Russell Crowe?
I don't know if he's taking Russell Crowe's place in that, but
That's crazy.
That, I mean, a lot of people could see that as being like his launching point for more mainstream success.
They said every filmmaker loves him, but audiences don't know who he is. Yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not seen anything he's in. They listed Jenna Ortega.
And there's no Jeremy Allen White on this. And
Well, he's already like in his late 30s or
Is he?
early 40s, right?
Or what's his name? Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's 20 or no, he's older now.
He's
35 or something.
mid 30s.
Mid-30s. But again, a lot of these guys don't look old for
A
their
lot of them got a late start.
Yeah.
Too. I actually was surprised that they didn't list Ayo Edebiri on here
Yeah.
because they were really pushing her, and I was surprised they didn't list Rachel Sennett.
Yeah.
As
Or
well.
Lupita Nyong'o. Who's
They've been
very
pushing
big
those
now.
two girls.
Glenn Powell is
crazy.
mentioned. Let's finish with the dudes. Glenn Powell is
Oh,
mentioned.
yeah.
Glenn Powell gets shaded hard because he's the only one that they don't include a picture of.
Yeah, even though they mentioned he has this like winning smile that everyone loves, and you said, you know, he looks like a movie star and he looks like he knows he looks like a movie star.
I also feel like he appeals to middle America.
You think?
I can't put it into words, but there's something about him that has good old boy vibes that he's able to encapsulate.
The first thing I saw him in was Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, and I think that plays a role in it. If that's your first,
My first
if that's your first impression of him, then that's going to be a good one
Yeah.
to be moving on from. And like, to be fair, when Top Gun came out, both him and Miles Teller were getting a lot of attention, and the Miles Teller hype isn't nearly as high
He
as
surpassed him.
as the Glenn Powell hype right now, which he's attached very heavily to Sydney Sweeney, who's also on this list.
Right. I think he's a match with her.
So Jenna Ortega. Now that
yeah.
we're in the ladies now.
So I expected Jenna Ortega
Yes.
to be on here. I think she might be the youngest person that they listed. She's 21 years old right now. And a lot of them are in their mid 30s already. So I still had never heard of her until Wednesday. But I do understand she got her start like doing something with Nickelodeon.
So very
Nickelodeon
young,
or
but,
Disney when she
this
was
is,
younger.
Series like the Jane the Virgin on the CW. Her
But I thought that like the era of child stars becoming a big deal later on kind of ended with Miley Cyrus.
I mean, I think that's different because that's music to like
Yeah.
music is different than acting.
Yeah, I guess so. But she's not like Sydney Sweeney.
She seems to be going more art house in her other roles. I mean, she's doing Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is
Right.
going to be a big movie. She was in the Scream franchise, has since moved on. She's still doing Wednesday. Sydney Sweeney seems to be going out of her way to do the most either financially beneficial or career beneficial roles that she can.
What about Florence Pugh?
What did I say? I don't even remember
You
what I
said-
said.
You said that she looks like a baked potato and a sausage put together.
Yeah. She kind of does.
You've said a lot of things about Florence Pugh.
I'm not
that we're
kind.
not.
I'm not kind to Florence Pugh, but that's because I find her annoying.
I do too.
She's got baked potato vibes.
I didn't like her in Dune. I didn't like her in Oppenheimer.
I mean, as a whole, I think I don't like her any more than I like Zendaya, which is I find their performances to be very one note and bland. But again, I've got limited experience with Florence Pugh outside of Marvel and Oppenheimer.
I didn't see her in anything Marvel.
And so
what was she in Marvel?
She plays what's her name? Natasha's sister.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Somebody said baked potato sausage. Baked potassage.
Yeah, I just don't get her appeal, but maybe it's because she's exceptionally annoying in interviews.
Yeah, and to
on
be
social
fair,
media.
like Midsummer made a lot of money, right? But just wasn't like, if I remember correctly, Midsummer was pretty popular.
I never watched it.
She's kind of like, it's the when I look at her, I think of like A24 puke. No, thank you.
A24 Pew.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's just me.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I think that's how someone acts on social media and in interviews factors in probably more than it should for me, whether I like to watch them.
Yeah.
But, you know, perfect example of why is Sydney Sweeney, because she knows how to be amenable to the audience and, you know, just be pleasant, not be a total bitch, like you put it.
Yes.
At one point. It's really important to not be a total bitch.
It's not that hard. Or actually the sad thing is you have to work very hard to not give the media fodder to clip you out of context and make you seem like you're worse than you are. That is part of your job. There was a story that was going around yesterday about how Lupita Nyong'o doesn't like doing interviews because she has to be engaging multiple times and tell the same story over and over again. Cry me a river. What am I supposed to do with that?
Well, what if she said she didn't like interviews because they're always trying to lead you into saying something controversial?
I mean, it's your job. Like, it's your job to not let them win.
I don't know. That would be a task for me. Honestly.
I did notice that somebody asked, is Rachel Zegler on this list? No, she is not.
No. Which is actually surprising given the Hunger Games prequel was such a success.
I mean, it made money.
It made money. And people liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't take that away from her.
I actually think only me and you liked it.
I know. I saw tons of people said very positive things about it. If you didn't like it just because Rachel Zegler was in it, that's not a real reason.
Sydney Sweeney and Jenna Ortega and Zendaya are probably going to be the most successful on this list. Anya Taylor-Joy remains to be seen for me.
I really liked her in The Menu last year. Or was that the year
Again,
before
these
last?
people, the one thing you're going to notice is a lot of these actresses and actors are going to populate different genres. Right? Like Sydney Sweeney's doing a Barbarella remake. She's gonna lean into her sex appeal. Zendaya's gonna look bored all the time, like she always does. Anya Taylor-Joy will be kind of art house in the same way that Florence Pugh will be, just with her eyes farther apart. But
Furiosa was massive flop. So did she just find out that she can't do action?
I mean, I don't know if that's even necessarily her fault. I don't blame. She was not bad in Furiosa. It's just a Mad Max movie without Mad Max.
And what are you going to do after that?
I don't believe that Furiosa not doing well is Anya Taylor-Joy's fault. I thought she gave a perfectly good performance in the movie.
But Zendaya, I don't enjoy watching her. She, like a lot of former Disney stars, just hasn't gotten past acting like a Disney star with these, like, delivering lines like there's going to be a laugh track.
What do you mean?
Like that. Exactly like that. She just, I'm not fond of her. But I also haven't seen Challengers.
Why not?
Is that where we're supposed to expect the laugh track? Where's the punchline?
I don't know. You tell me. That's literally every performance she does. It's the same. It's same way when she as MJ. It's the same thing every time.
Did you watch her like scenes in Euphoria?
The best example of this is like when you see her in like Spider-Man And you see Tom Holland has a screen presence and has a unique kind of jittery charisma, a nervous, jittery charisma about his performance. And she's just annoying and one note and bland. And I'm like, how is this supposed to resonate with me? Like, you can't just play Zendaya. Like, Ryan Reynolds can play Ryan Reynolds in everything. Sorry, he can. He's allowed to. Mm-hmm. I guess to be fair, she can too. She seems to be allowed to do so. But Ryan Reynolds is probably going to get more praise for it.
It's because of his male privilege.
And his whiteness. Yeah.
And his whiteness.
Yes. And she's also, like, a lot of people are saying, look, the worst element of Dune is the love story because she adds nothing to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. She was the worst.
Like they look like
she was the worst part of Dune.
They look like a couple that's already stopped having sex, and she tells him she has a headache every night. That's what she looks like in the movie.
But they're in a war-torn, brutal society.
All the more reason to be more emotional towards one another. Like,
I guess.
Tough on the outface, but emotional to each other.
Yeah.
Or at least her. Like, maybe the man is not supposed to be emotional, but the woman is. Sorry, it's sexist, I know, but it's true.
If you want it to resonate with people, yes. I agree. Okay, let's move on and get to these super chats. Shane H. Wilder said, I'm going to try the Nuggies. I'm still pissed that I ordered Diablo sauce last night and they gave me mild bitches.
That's just rude.
They did that on purpose.
Yeah, they just don't like you, man.
Brewmaster Monk said, what if instead of feet, we had 2 giant thumbs?
What?
Why do you have to say these things? I didn't want to think about that today. Shane H. Wilder said, no trailer for the Baldwins? Well, shoot.
Well, maybe they're shooting it right now.
They're probably shooting it as we speak.
Yep.
Okay.
Two
BMF
more.
Nate Dog said, Downs Barbie.
Is that Greta Thunberg?
I'm pretty sure that already exists. J Turbo 25 said Barbie 2 Electric Boogaloo. It's happening. Mr. Joker said no boots. All right, that's it. Dishonor. Make a note of this. Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow, dishonor on your Brett. Well, I mean, that's not fair to Brett. He had nothing to do with it.
It's not my fault. Let's hold off on the rest. We got more to do. Let's get to that second crisis party, ladies and gentlemen. And now it is time to talk about Nepo babies once again, because Maya Hawke has just decided to embrace it.
Mm-hmm. The discourse about nepotism in Hollywood continues. As recently, Maya Hawke, the daughter of Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman, did an interview where she revealed that she is entirely comfortable with being a Nepo baby and not deserving any of her accomplishments or her access in Hollywood. If you don't remember, her breakout role was in Stranger Things, and she just showed up mid-series. I didn't like her in that. She's also directing her own projects now. She did a weird interview with her father, Ethan Hawke, about how she had him direct her in sex scenes in one of these movies that she's also directing. They just seem to have a very strange relationship. But anyway, she says she is completely fine with being called a Nepo baby. She embraces the label. It's Nepo Pride Month. And she admits that obviously her parents' names gave her access to be in a Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, as one of her first roles ever. She said, I've been wildly made fun of for this clip when I said on a red carpet that I auditioned for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I never meant to imply that I didn't get the part for nepotistic reasons. I think I totally did.
This is the right way to approach this, is to just embrace it. Just like,
I respect it a hell of a lot more than someone insisting that they've earned everything they have.
Just own it.
And denying the reality of the situation. So they asked her about whether she deserves the opportunities she's had. She said, deserves is a complicated word. There are so many people who deserve to have this kind of life who don't, but I think I'm comfortable with not deserving it and doing it anyway. And I know that my not doing it wouldn't help anyone. I saw 2 paths when I was first starting, and one of them was change your name, get a nose job, and go to open casting roles. She opted for the second path by embracing nepotism, and even if others judged her for it, it's okay to be made fun of when you're in rarefied air. It's a lucky place to be. My relationships with my parents are really honest and positive, and that supersedes anything anyone could say about it.
She's right. Like the other path that she could have chosen might have been what some people call the more honorable one. But that's not what most people are going to do. It's not what most people do in this industry. Not everyone is going to be like Emilio Estevez and use his real name rather than Charlie Sheen and Martin Sheen, who using the acting name and stuff like that, or Nicolas Cage. It's not going to be that way. And in this day and age, in the age of like instant gratification, where that type of work ethic isn't even really rewarded or even looked at as fondly as it used to be, as the older generations die off, it's like, what is she going to do? Is she just going to ignore this? No, she's going to lean into it, and she's going to make her money. She's going to have her job. She's going to do whatever she wants. And we're going to end up talking about it. It'll be a 10-minute segment, and then we'll move on about her day. Now, what she can hope is that one day she gives a performance or directs something that's so good that she ends up surpassing that of her parents. But most children in Hollywood have to accept early on that if they have truly successful parents, that's not the most likely path forward.
I mean, didn't Zoe Kravitz try to deny the nepotism that she received in Hollywood as well?
Who's her mom?
Oh,
it's a
different actress.
It's Lenny Kravitz, guys, who's Zoe Kravitz's mom? I always forget.
I'll remember it at some point.
He just like did like an interview of like him at 60 and he looks like he's 25.
Black don't crack.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are just gonna hate you no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And I understand her approach is just to like be honest about it. That's better than acting like, no, I actually earned everything I have.
It's Lisa Bonet, which was Lisa Bonet was with Jason Momoa.
Yeah. When like people can smell the bullshit when that happens, I mean, they always can. You can't fool the audience. But
there's a good example. Crazy Cat, Sofia Coppola and Mira Sorvino are both Academy Award winning Nepo babies.
Yeah. Sofia Coppola, I think, surpassed.
Look, Bryce Dallas Howard has made a name for herself beyond just being Ron Howard's daughter.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. Just you notice it more when the Nepo baby is crap at something.
Yeah. Josh Brolin is James Brolin's son, and Josh Brolin is a legend unto himself now. Like, there's plenty of examples of that. And that's fine. Like, I just think the thing is, like, what you want is you want to develop a resume so good that people think of you for your roles, not for your last name.
I think that she might be wrong in thinking that her taking her directing roles, her acting roles, is, taking the role away from anyone else.
That's the wrong attitude.
It's definitely a zero-sum game.
This is my problem with most of these people is like they think that it's a community and that you can all win. No, you cannot. It's a zero-sum game. It is a cutthroat business, and it is your job to make as much money for yourself and your family by taking those roles away from other people. But that is, I think, a fundamental difference a lot of times between men and women is men understand that, and women want everyone to win and get along, but that's just not the way it works.
Yeah. I mean, the pie doesn't get bigger.
No, it does not.
Everyone has to use their advantages where they can. So I didn't think that was entirely accurate, but she's probably telling herself that to make herself feel better.
Cope
about the situation. But the last time we talked about nepotism was Northwest's performance in the Lion King stage play. And I just found that gross because North is 10 years old, and despite Kim having seen what fame did to like Kendall and Kylie as children, being like put on this reality show and then they have to like be brands, she saw what fame did to those children, and now she's like inflicting it on her children.
I think it's just because
without a second thought.
I wonder if it's just because it's the only life she knows and she doesn't know how to do it any other way.
Yeah, I guess it's just the path of least resistance. But also, she's making North think that she earned that.
Yeah.
Which is not a recipe for like a well-functioning adult. who's gonna be able to do things on their own, because she's like she said that she like pays North for her jobs that she pays for North to get. Like she buys the jobs for her child and then gives her child a fake paycheck for the job.
I guess it's supposed to teach them like how jobs work. And
I don't know. Who am I to give Kim Kardashian parenting advice?
I can see like I can see the cope in her brain and how she explains how this is a good thing. I guess
there are other things. I mean, these people are definitely weirdos. Like that thing with Maya Hawke performing sex scenes in front of her dad.
And that's not the first celebrity that we've seen do that. Who was it?
It's not the only situation.
Elizabeth Hurley did so with her son.
Her son directed her sex scenes.
Yeah.
And then there was like an OnlyFans chick whose 18-year-old son is her cameraman.
Yeah.
Tons of things
that
like
wasn't Hollywood. That wasn't even in America.
Nepotism aside,
yeah.
They're all a bunch of weirdos, and I do not respect them as people.
Yeah. The another example or another part of the industry is like there's just as much of this going on behind the scenes too. Like a lot of actors come from casting directors and composers, and like it's not just actors have actors for kids. It's cinematographers have kids that end up being actors, or actors have kids that end up becoming cinematographers or directors. And I guess it's just the old idea that it's not what you know, it's who you know. Everyone would like to believe that that's not true, but it is. And this exists in other industries as well. It's not just about being related to someone. You can get jobs in industries because of the people that you know and the connections that you make. And that will always be just as important as what you know about something. The difference is with acting, it's a subjective performance. So it's a lot easier to dunk on it when it's like, if somebody gets a job working at a Fortune 500 company, very rarely is one person going to have such an impact on it that they're going to be able to like, oh, look, this person tanked post serial because it's whatever his name's kid or something like that. The company's going to, post quarterly gains and they're not going to notice other than maybe people being annoyed that they got passed up for a promotion. However, when a movie comes out, and Maya Hawke, or I'm just using her as an example, gets a role and the movie bombs, the people that don't like her are going to be able to use that and latch on to that reasoning to show why it didn't work. But the fact is, most movies these days do seem to lose money.
Yeah.
Despite whoever gets hired. It's just one of many reasons why.
Star power seems to matter less and less.
And the subjective nature of art makes it easier to dunk on the performance, and then if it fails at the box office, all the better.
Scapegoat the Nepo baby.
Yep. Every time. All right.
Okay, let's finish up the super chats.
And then we'll hang out until we will stay till 5 because people get mad when we leave early.
Yeah. Zach Yandel said new t-shirt, Millie Bobby Baby Boom. She would definitely sue us.
Yes.
I'm sure of it. Shane H. Wilder said the Pixar writers skipped Kill Your Darlings Day in film class and their current output shows.
Well, what they need to do, what I would like to see Pixar do is just tell Disney, look, we're not going to make movies about social issues. We're just gonna find a new story like Toy Story. You know what they should make, and they wouldn't. Who remembers Small Soldiers? Make that. I just saw this thing. What was the video game that just came out on Xbox or something, where you play as like a toy soldier in a toy store?
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Stuff like that.
Well, they had toy soldiers in Toy Story.
Should make
that
a movie
would just
about
be another
that.
Toy Story spinoff. Like them doing a spinoff of Toy Story about Buzz Lightyear, the human, not the toy, is like if they did a Toy Story spinoff of the toy soldiers, but it's just a movie about a soldier.
Yeah. Yep.
It's beyond stupid. Yep. Shane H. Wilder said literally what God gave her, that's Cap. It's definitely Cap.
It was definitely Cap.
And he also said, Brett, do not ask me to send cringe of the day. I've seen some things, man. Stares into the distance with a look of terror.
Don't send the cringe, just send the cute.
Yeah, we're not going to ask for any cringe submissions. That kind of does the work on its own. Hiroshima Otaru said, worst element of Dune was the hack director.
I love Denis Villeneuve. I'm sorry. Sicario will always be one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm sorry.
I don't think that Like, most people have positive things to say about him.
Yes.
Corey Anderson said if we had 2 thumbs for feet, they would be extremely calloused. Can you imagine trying to cut that foot thumb toenail? Why are you doing this?
Thanks.
Why did we need to think about this today? VWit said, fine, I'll super chat it. Zendaya is Daria circa 2024.
She doesn't have the spice to be Daria. She's not, her bland is not the good kind of, her bland doesn't seem intentional.
Her only facial expression is this.
You know what we talk about? So one of the things that me and Mary talk about is like, you can tell when somebody does a podcast if they have media training because they smile in between sentences.
Yeah.
And it allows you to get good freeze frames of them. She's the opposite. She frowns in between sentences. She's like,
Yeah. That was like her comedic relief character in Euphoria, who just stands there and like is like, I'm high on drugs.
What
Like
do you mean?
that.
What do you mean?
That was her entire character. Okay. Anyway, The Rumbling said Enemy at the Gate had a better love story than Dune. Zendaya looks like a bitchy runway model that didn't deserve it. Zendaya is the new Kristen Stewart.
I think Mary might take issue with that. Mary has no problem with Kristen Stewart, right?
These days I do.
Well, yeah.
And I said, the ability to serve cunt, but the refusal to do so
Is a
is a
problem.
crime against humanity.
How dare you?
And I do hold it against Kristen Stewart. But, you know, men liked Kristen Stewart when she still looked like a woman.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe
There was plenty of thirsting
I think I missed that memo.
Kristen Stewart.
I think I missed that memo. But perhaps I'm wrong.
And there's plenty of thirsting for Zendaya too. She just gets more crap for her looks from time to time. Corey Anderson said, have you seen that an Amazon tribe was given Starlink and has become addicted to prawn?
I sent that to Mary earlier. I said, bet.
Why would we expect anything else?
And social media. It wasn't just prawn. It was social media and prawn.
Wait, so like why? How did that even happen? I don't understand.
Imagine like you've never seen anything like that, and then your senses are immediately assaulted with like your worst, most visceral natures, and suddenly you're looking at the objects of sexual desire nonstop.
Okay, that's just literally what's happening to our society.
Yeah,
except
but we
we're
were
desensitized.
We were
to it.
weaned into it slowly over time. You had dial-up internet, and then you had to hide it.
Wait, if they're an uncontacted Amazonian tribe, why do they have devices to use the Starlink with?
Likely
Like,
they just provided them. Maybe,
why?
Maybe Elon is...
That's literally like inhumane. Like that seems actually cruel.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up.
Isn't there like a universal agreement that uncontacted tribes should just be left alone?
Here we go. It says, a remote tribe in Brazil has become bitterly divided 9 months after gaining access to satellite internet via Elon Musk's Starlink service. The 2,000-member Marubo tribe, who live along the Ituye River, I don't know how to pronounce that, in the Amazonian rainforest, were connected to the World Wide Web last September after 20 antennas were donated to them by American entrepreneur
Why?
Allison Renault. Thanks, Allison. This is all your fault. Starlink, which works by connecting the antennas to 6,000 low-orbiting satellites, delivers super-fast internet to far-flung corners of the planet and have been billed as a game-changer by Musk. He's like, you know what it is? Then he's like, and I'll give you Neuralink too, so you don't even need the Starlink.
Okay, hold on.
When it was arrived, everyone was happy, says, I can't pronounce that name, I apologize. 73 years old, she told the New York Times, but now things have gotten worse. Young people have gotten lazy because of the internet, she explained. They're learning the ways of the white people.
Yeah.
Initially, the internet was heralded as a positive for the remote tribe who were able to quickly contact authorities for help with emergencies, including potential deadly snake bites. It's already saved lives, one said. Members are also able to share educational resources with other Amazonian tribes and connected with friends and family who now live elsewhere. It has also opened up a world of possibilities. So there's good things about it.
No, there aren't.
Apparently. Well, no, I'm just telling you what they're saying. That there are a couple of good things about it.
Okay, if they needed medical help, you would, maybe make a road Or you would give them medical supplies. Or you would give them, like, I don't know, do what Mr. Beast does. Build them a well.
Here's the downside. It says it changed the routine so much that it was detrimental. In the village, if you don't hunt, fish, and plant, you don't eat. Some young people maintain our traditions. Others just want to spend the whole afternoon on their phones. There's got to be a movie. Honestly, there is a fantastic comedy to be made about this.
How did they have electricity?
Tribes people became so addicted that the leaders have now limited access to the internet for 2 hours each morning, 5 hours each evening, and all day on Sunday. However, another tribesman said that he still worries about the impacts despite the time limits. You're not wrong, my friend.
But how do they Hello, chair. How do they even have electricity for their devices in the first place? Like, they're living in huts.
I have no idea.
None of this makes any sense to me. But that's just cruel to do to people who at least, didn't have the internet in their formative years and are just getting bombarded with stimuli and don't know how to handle it. Why would anyone decide that that's a good idea?
It says, many say young Marubo men have been sharing porn videos in group chats and have already observed more aggressive sexual behavior. We're worried young men are going to want to try it, he said, of the kinky sex acts they've suddenly been exposed to on screen.
Oh, yeah, but porn totally doesn't affect the way that humans behave.
Another said that he was anxious about his children playing violent first-person shooter games.
Are they becoming more violent?
It says, I'm worried they're suddenly going to want to mimic them. Well, somebody needs to tell him that we debunked that one years ago. Don't worry. You're fine. Meanwhile, others say they've fallen victim to internet scams. Oh my gosh. So the Nigerian...
They don't even have money to give to the Nigerian
Nigerian prince has sent emails to the
They don't even have money, though. Right?
Meanwhile, others say they've fallen victim to internet scams because they lack digital literacy, while many youngsters are chatting with strangers on social media.
That sounds unsafe.
Doesn't sound good, ladies and gentlemen. It does not sound good at all.
But because some egotistical American billionaire venture capitalist decided that it would be a great act of kindness and charity to give them the internet, this happens. I don't know. Who made them king? That's disgusting.
There's a $20 one here.
I don't see it yet.
Was it Dr. Larsena? Mary, you're thinking of the Prime Directive, which is Star Trek, not a real world thing. Brett, they made that movie. It's called The Gods Must Be Crazy. So
what was I thinking of?
I don't know what that's in reference to. I don't know what that's in reference to.
Yeah, I have no idea what you mean. Sorry. Gordon Shumway said Lenny Kravitz said was also a Nepo baby. His dad was a Hollywood exec and his mom was on The Jeffersons. Zoe is a Nepo grandbaby.
Well, there you go. There's the proof that Lenny proved his parents wrong by being a big name unto himself, because a lot of people probably don't know that.
Corey Anderson said, hey, Shane, can we get a Skibbity Mary? Please no. Please no. I don't want this. He also said, Mary, that was a great Zendaya.
Do it again.
Thank you.
Do it again.
I'm high on drugs.
It's always
that was her whole character on Euphoria. Shane H. Wilder said, why do you ask these things of my Corey and no of me, Corey? I can think of no way to make that funny. Seems weird. Weird. Zach Yandel said, Mary, are you calling Zendaya fish-faced? I don't think she has a fish face, no. She just is addicted to making that weird... What even is that? This is like scowling.
I don't know what that
she's like scowling.
I don't know what that face is supposed to be.
Yeah.
But it always does look like she's got a bad smell under her nose.
Yeah.
Like
she always is just reacting to smelling some stank.
I don't know what necessarily that is, or if that, I mean, it's like instead of resting bitch face, you have just resting like bad smell face.
Something like that, yeah. Greg Duvier said, Major Chip Hazard reporting for duty.
Small soldiers.
Okay. Gordon Shumway said, the movie already exists, Brett. It's called The Gods Must Be Crazy, and it was a Coke bottle found by an African Bushman tribe.
Okay, so the movie already exists. Well, they need to make a new one with Starlink. They can call it something else. So
Serenco Productions said the person sending the internet to the African tribes is named Allison. SMH, women still introducing sin to the world.
To be fair, it was
2024.
Allison, Allison, which is just wrong.
It's pronounced Allison then. Pat the plumber said maybe the tribe will find Jesus, Mary.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Shane H. Wilder.
That's what all the all the teenage boys who find porn just go straight to Jesus instead. That's just what happens.
Shane H. Wilder said Operation Dumbo drop to Operation Dumbass drop.
Look, I suppose this is the problem with the idea of like the best intentions, right? It's like
there weren't best intentions.
We in the West,
this was bad intentions.
We in the West think that we know better than everyone and that we're helping the world by doing these things. One could even have made the assumption, though I think that you're naive to say that spreading democracy, via the CIA and the U.S. government and our military is the best intentions. If you were naive. Right? But that's the West, right? We think we know better than everyone, and then we push it on everyone else.
When it comes to the Silicon Valley executives, though, I don't even think they have good intentions anymore. I think they just want to be... They just want to dominate the earth.
They're like, look at this market we could fill. The funny thing is that's actually in the movie Tomorrow Never Dies, the James Bond movie, the Jonathan Carver character, he's an evil media baron who's like, he's like killing people and framing governments so that he can get media rights in China because China won't give him exclusive media rights to run his cable network.
Why would that necessitate killing anybody?
I don't even remember so what he does, he frames one, who was it that was it the British government, and like he frames it, like he sets a sub off course so that it looks like they're in international waters but they're actually in Chinese waters, and then like sinks a ship, and he's trying to start a war for ratings.
Okay.
Yeah, and part of it is like he wants to get...
that's pretty much what journalists do now. Yeah. They are warmongering to get ratings.
Yes.
That's
expertly played in that movie by Jonathan Pryce, who's a fantastic bad guy in that movie. And just a snivelly, annoying guy.
Shane H. Wilder said, also, after making a chair origin story video, I'm inundated with Temu chair ads. Why would I want Skibbity Toilet stuck in my algorithm for a month?
Yeah.
Temu is like all scams, right?
I know some people who order off Temu.
Does it work? I don't know. Is any of it real? Are any of the products real?
I've never ordered off Temu. I always see the one where it's like a personal use washer and dryer that you can like set up in a sink. Or like washer that you can wash clothes in a sink.
It's like the size of a little waste basket or something, like tiny.
That's the ones I always see. I used to order stuff off DHgate, which was just basically getting stuff from China.
Yeah, I think I've ordered like a thing or two.
I got my first like bench. It had to be fake, like a Benchmade out the front knife from DHgate. Took like forever to clear customs to make it.
That's crazy that it made it.
Yeah, it's like 2 months later.
I just ordered like a pair of jeans or something. Yeah, I don't even know why. Zach Yandel said, I'm a big fan of banning smart devices to children under 16 and restricting access to children under 18.
How do you limit the access between 16 and 18?
Yeah, difficult to say.
The best way to do that would be as a parent to be like, here's a dumb phone until you are old enough to live on your own. Only dumb phones under this roof.
There are plenty of those on the market now, like the Gab phone. Gab created their own thing. There's like one other one called the Wise phone. Get it? Because instead of smart, it's wise. They still have maps. They still have text messaging. You know, all of that. They take photos and videos.
You just can't.
It's basically just an Android phone.
You just can't sit on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok.
Scrolling that damn TikTok all day.
Look, the worst part is like Twitter brings up is the worst for me because it's actually beneficial to my job. But maybe 40% of it is beneficial and the other 60% is just not even doom scrolling, just bored scrolling, and I'm not actually taking in any useful information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I try to like use Pinterest instead because Pinterest doesn't make me angry. Thank you.
I just saw, okay, so Matt Walsh had a whole thread going today about moms not putting their carts back. That just pissed a ton of people off.
Well, before that, he was arguing with everybody about weight loss.
Yes.
Did you see all of that stuff go down? I mean, it's like the classic example of like the person autistically repeating something that is completely true but isn't resonating with the person that they're telling it to.
Calories in, calories out works. And everyone's like, well, actually, I'm part of this rare subgroup. And
actually, my thyroid. Actually, my water retention. Actually, my lymph nodes. Blah, blah, blah.
Chat, I want to know, because I was reading the one earlier, the examples that were given was like, okay, as a mother, you have the excuse to not put your cart back because you're vulnerable. And he's like, lock the kids in the car and walk 20 feet and put the cart back and walk back to your car. Nobody realistically believes that your kids are going to get stolen from a locked car if you have to walk 20 feet to the cart corral to put your cart back. I want to know, chat, is that fair, or do mothers have an out, a free pass to not put their cart back? I also saw people making the same excuse that they always do, like, it keeps them employed. No, that's not why that is. The reason you put the cart back is not because it actually helps it's so emotionally, intellectually disingenuous to pretend like you're somehow keeping them more employed by leaving it 20 feet away where it can hit a car rather than in the corral, which is still on the lot where they have to bring it back. The point of it putting in the corral isn't because you're helping the employee. It's that it stops it from being put into a wind pushing the cart into another car.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But do you believe, chat, that women deserve, if they're moms, that they deserve a free pass to just leave their cart about? Do
you have the video?
Matt Walsh's. It wasn't a video.
The one of the mom talking about.
Oh, I could see if I could find it here. We could.
I want to hear her explanation.
We could see if we can pull that up here and see. What
the real issue she's probably talking about is carjacking.
I what do you mean? Like I don't get that.
Right, like
she puts the kids in the car. She locks the door. She walks to the corral. She puts it back, and then she walks back to the car, where the car is now locked. So you're saying, like, in between walking it to the corral and somebody's going to steal the keys?
I mean, no, like basically if I'm like trying to understand her argument.
Here's the video. We can watch this here.
I'm not returning the shopping cart, and you can judge me all you want. I'm not getting my groceries into my car, getting my children into the car, and then leaving them in the car to go return the cart. So if you're going to give me a dirty look, fuck off.
Does she believe that they're gonna break the window of the car and then steal the kids? I guess.
No, I don't think that she's talking. I think she's talking about carjackings.
Oh, okay.
If I had to guess. Obviously, if we're talking about the least possibility of something going wrong, the faster you are in your car with the door locked, about to leave, like actively driving away, that's the safest option. Like the faster that you are in the car with the kids with the door locked.
Okay.
Right?
I guess. I wonder if she leaves her car in the driveway with her kids in it, in the car running, and then runs in the house for something.
She probably lives in a nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
So
yep.
There's nothing to worry about. But
I mean,
I really don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Ladies,
I don't understand why. I don't understand why this is the issue that a lot of people have chosen to be really mad about.
I admit it does annoy me, but
why?
I
nothing annoys you.
It does annoy me. Look, and I freely admit that I have my own hypocrisies here. Like, for instance, as Mary has pointed out before, when I like decide I don't want an item at a store, I don't walk it all the way back to where it goes. I will just leave it somewhere, which is also unfair and means that an employee will then have to pick that item up and bring it back. But it doesn't run the risk of that item running into someone's car and denting it, I guess. To me personally, I just feel like maybe what you could do is park next to the corral. That way you're right next to it and you can just put it away there.
Those are the premium spots.
Yeah.
Usually taken, I don't know. I don't really get the outrage over it. Like, there are things that judge a person's character a lot better than whether they return their card.
Well, no, because so like I saw
like
people
from my point of view.
No, like the thing is when I see people in the comments who are talking about how they don't, the sense of like trollish happiness they get from telling you they don't makes you want to like just rip your hair out, right?
So it's the snark that
one person's like, so as long as I don't leave it in a place where it can hit a car, I'm fine, right? Like if I just leave it in the grass, right? I'm like
like that's more work for you.
Like you're literally. He's like, if I wedge it against the curb so that it can't hit a car. I'm like, you're just being a dick, and you're doing this on purpose, right? Like,
I mean, they're probably the people who actually do return their carts. And they're just trying to make people angry on the internet.
And a lot of people would say that this is a sign of whether we live in a society that can be trusted, right?
We don't.
Like, okay, so
that's my point, though.
One of the examples that people were giving here is like, look, he says, I grew up in California and carts were just flying around like go-karts everywhere. He goes, when I went to the Midwest, they would walk through a tornado to return their cart to the corral.
Yeah.
So that's not just a sign of it's a sign of the politeness of the people there. Not because it says any great thing about them, but because I also have a problem. Like, say you're visiting or you live with other people, right? You share an apartment with someone. When you don't put something back where it belongs if it's not yours, that bothers me. When
sure,
you just
but that's a person
lying around.
Not a company, so it's easier to follow that.
But you're not doing it for the company. You're doing it so you don't hit some poor lady's car, indent it, and give her a $5,000 bill.
Well, I don't think a dent would be $5,000.
You give her a $1,000 bill.
Whatever.
To pull a dent on
I
a
don't
car.
know. I just feel like there are too many rules and not enough rewards for following those rules in society at this point. And if it were articulated by all of the people who don't return their carts, that's what they would say. Because it's true. You don't get rewarded for following the rules.
So in a society
in
where
this
everyone returns the cart, you're rewarded by your car not getting dented by other people's carts.
But you returning your cart has nothing to do with whether other people will.
It does if other people follow by example and you shame them into not doing it. Into doing it, then perhaps you're rewarded by not having your new car dented by a cart.
I guarantee you Cart Narcs has never once convinced somebody to return their cart.
They should...
they have never once won that battle.
I don't know.
It doesn't... It has not
Well,
happened.
I mean, nobody's like looking over their shoulders wondering if they're not going to or not, right?
I guess. Yeah. But, I mean, I park in curbside pickup spots that I'm not supposed to. Is that like wreaking havoc upon society?
As long as you're not doing it in the handicap spots.
Well, no, those are, I mean, those are supposed to be handicap spots. And then they turned them into curbside pickup spots during COVID, which I hated.
They're saying I just want to ignore the risk of Los Angeles parking.
Los Angeles parking? I don't know anything about that.
So I guess because it's dangerous to do so.
Probably is. Yep. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you never know these days. Like the amount of like foreigners just pouring over our border, millions and millions of them. Criminality is on the rise. Carjackings are on the rise. The population is skyrocketing. I just really don't feel like
this is what
taking a risk.
This is what Matt Walsh said. He says you can bring your kids with you to return your cart or leave them in the car for 20 seconds while you return it. They aren't going to die or get kidnapped while you walk 14 feet. Get real. He says this woman claims in a follow-up video that she won't leave her kids in the car to return a cart because her kids will be abducted. Question, has there been one confirmed case ever of a child abducted by a stranger while the parent returns a cart? Maybe it has happened, but it's rare.
I would actually love to know.
I mean, maybe this is a consequence of women's love of true crime. They're like, and then they vanished
really is, though.
in thin air.
It is. I
Like
think
some woman who lives in Coral Gables is like, they're gonna get me. Meanwhile, somebody's drinking their $100 juice.
Well, they all think that they're gonna be the victim of the next like serial killer at large. When in reality, the biggest risk is like getting mugged or a homeless person assaulting you.
Yes.
It's not gonna be some dramatic like they like abduct you and then they put you in their basement and then feed you to dogs or something.
I enjoyed this response. He says, everyone has their excuse for why their contribution to the tragedy of the commons is a special case and they're not the bad guy, but the excuses are always flimsy in the end. I just thought it was eloquently phrased.
It's a nice tweet.
You have
written
contributed
tweet.
to the tragedy of the commons by not putting your cart.
That is literally my intention. I'm glad they noticed because that is my intention, is to cause chaos.
All right, let's we can finish the super chats. We've got a couple left here, I think.
Pat the plumber said, "I love Temu."
There you go. At least somebody does.
Emily Ziegler said, "Temu is real, and I'm a big Temu fan. Not paid by them, but yes, it's legit."
Okay.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Does the Wise phone have a long white beard?"
It should. Does it go like this?
That would make sense. DCNC said, "Why haven't you had YouTuber Metatron on yet?"
I've never seen them.
I've never heard of this person either, but I'll look them up. Yorishima Otaru said, "Ignoring the little things destroys society."
I mean, a lot of people, isn't that kind of like what Broken Windows policing is basically all about, which is where you can't ignore the smaller crimes because if you do, it leads to bigger crimes. In this case, that's not a crime, but they're saying, ignoring the little niceties that make us a society leads to more, and that everyone will always find an excuse not to do something.
Sure, but the avalanche of social decay is not... It began long before I decided I was not going to return my car.
Perhaps it's a better excuse to move somewhere in higher trusts, like move to the
You can only
Midwest
retreat for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to spread through the entire country. Like, it's inevitable due to demographic change. It's inevitable. It's just going to happen. And, act accordingly. Corey Anderson said, "If you park by the corral, you're more likely to get your car dinged by a shopping cart by people like me that run and push the cart into the corral." That's a good point.
Then, okay, one away. If you tell me that you can't park on the other side of the car next to the corral and put it away because you're afraid that some dude is literally standing behind a tree in the median and is about to like literally jump outwards, explode outwards, and steal your children, please.
Like a monkey.
Also,
in the
every woman that says that, I want them subjected to like rigorous road tests if they drive even a mile over the speed limit and they don't drive perfectly all the time. I don't buy that you care as much about your kids as you say.
True. A lot of people texting while driving these days. Colby Hansen said, "I disagree, Mary. I've been praised by employees for returning carts and get favorable service because I return my cart."
There you go. At least somebody's doing it.
Okay. Well, that's great for you. Rhaegar Targaryen said, "Returning your cart is broken glass theory for the store parking lot."
There you go.
Corn Pop.
And a lot of other people's are like, if you talk to people about what they call shopping cart theory, the whole point is it's a judgment of someone's character because there's no reward or punishment for not doing it. That the idea is that it's a measure of someone's character because you're not rewarded for it. That's the point that they make.
I could say a lot right now, but it goes against YouTube's terms
TOS?
of service.
Okay.
And I hope that everyone just understands what I'm thinking right now. And we're going to move on. Corn Pop sent us a sticker. I don't know what it was, but thank you, Corn Pop.
It's a superhero bird of some sort. I have no idea what that's supposed to be.
Shane H. Wilder said, "What about returning a cart at Aldi?"
Yeah, because you get the quarter back. The whole point is that you put the money in to get it.
Okay. Okay. Who carries around loose change like that? I just don't carry cash anymore. I wouldn't be able to do it. Known Undesirable said, marry the type to not wipe down gym equipment or to leave the seat up. Well, I don't go to the gym.
The funny thing is I made that argument recently as like a joke, even though I do try to be respectful of like putting the seat back down. Because whenever they're like, it takes 2 seconds to put the seat down. I'm like, yeah, exactly. It only takes 2 seconds to put the seat down. So why are you complaining? But that's just me being a dick. I actually do try to be respectful of that. But if somebody's like being snarky, like, why don't you put the seat down? Why didn't you? You literally just told me it takes 2 seconds. So why are you complaining?
Yeah. Why?
Again, not my best moments, but it is something that at least crosses my mind, even though I would never outwardly phrase that to someone.
Yeah. Wyatt Caldenberg said Aldi's charges a quarter for the carts, and people always return them.
Yeah, because you get the quarterback.
Rhaegar Targaryen said you have no duty to embrace nihilism.
No, you don't. I try my best to not embrace nihilism most days. I have worse days than others. There are some days where there's just black pills going everywhere, but today hasn't been that day necessarily.
Pat the Plumber said, Mary, you're a hypocrite. I guess someone else will super chat for me from now on.
What? Why?
You're being extremely dramatic. Okay, are we all caught up?
I think we are all caught up here, ladies and gentlemen. It is 5 o'clock. So, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already, especially if you put your cart back every time. Subscribe.
Or if you don't, you should also subscribe.
Perfect. All right, Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And tomorrow, you should keep an eye out for my post. I will be doing an appearance on a show that I think will remain unnamed for now.
Oh, are you gonna post?
But keep an eye out for
social?
that.
Are you gonna post on social media?
Yeah, that'll be around the middle of the day Eastern time. So keep an eye out for that.
Perfect. And yeah, tomorrow it looks like Phil, Sarah, and Kellen will join me on here. It's going to be a fun show. I'm getting it ready as we speak, so it's going to be an interesting one. If you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would prefer to listen rather than watch this show. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok because we were banned at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Mary, it looks like there's one more there.
Yes. Zach Yandel said, I love when you're dramatic, Brett. Very funny.
I do my best. And then there's one more.
Corey Anderson said, women just don't want to touch the toilet seat.
We live in a society.
We live in a society, for real, for real.
All right, guys.
No cap.
With that being said, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Later, everyone.